In this video, what I'm going to do is create the categories global state property using Redux. I'm going to start off with the constant, and let's collapse this components folder, and here in the constants create a new file called category constants.js. All right, we're gonna create the variable called get categories, and that's gonna be equal to the string value get categories. Okay. Next is creating the reducer. So within the reducer, create a new file called category reducers.js. So I'm going to import get categories from, go back one directory, go to constants, and then category constants. Create our initial state. And what we're going to do here is have categories, which by default is going to be an empty array. Next, create our reducer. Category reducers equals to, let's see, first argument is a state value, which by default is going to be equal to the initial state, and then the action. Now we're going to do a switch on the action type, and we're going to do the case, check the case of get categories, which is going to return, is going to be, well, we're going to spread out whatever's in the state, and then we're going to do categories equals, let's see, so initially it's let's see, get categories, so we're going to spread out whatever's in the state of categories. No, get categories, actually get categories action payload. Yeah, actually we just do action payload. Okay, so the payload, the action payload, that's it. And then we're going to do the default and return the state. And we're going to export this category reducers, export default. All right. So now that we got the reducer taken care of, move on to the action function. We're going to create a new file in action. It's going to be called category actions. Here, all right. So we're going to need, all right, so let's see. I'm going to import a few constants here. All right, so the first one we're going to start off with is, let's see, we're going to start off with the loading constants, and I'm going to need start loading and stop loading, and I'm going to copy this up here because I'm going to need some constants also from the messages. Let me do right here, message constants, and for the message constants we're going to need what was it, show success message, show error message, All right, that's all we need for now. And then paste again another one, because we're going to need constants from category constants, and that was get categories. All right, and we are going to be using Axios because we're going to be making an Ajax HTTP request. So let's go ahead and import that. Import Axios from Axios, and let's go ahead and start our action function, export const, and we're going to call it get categories. No, be aware that we have created in the past get categories within our API folder. So here within our API folder we got category, and we do have a get category. However, because we're using Redux now, essentially what we're doing is we're going to be replacing this function here and making it as part of an action function of Redux. Okay, so keep that in mind. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to copy this from here, and then within here, let me paste that inside here. And let's see. All right, Axios async, async. Oh, actually, let me make some changes here. So this is gonna be like this, and I'm gonna call this, or it's gonna be asynchronous. So like this, and then call dispatch. Okay, and I'm gonna do a try catch. Try catch block, and within the try, I'm gonna copy this here, remove it, and paste that right inside here. Let me delete that. All right, so let's see, what are we gonna do here? All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm going to this, wait, let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna call it dispatch. Dispatch of type start loading. Okay, and this is our HTTP request that might take a while, and so once we get a response back, we can go ahead and do a dispatch again right afterwards, and we're gonna call it, we're gonna do stop loading. Okay, next thing is, let's see, we're gonna do a dispatch of type get categories, and then the payload is gonna be whatever we get here as a response from the server, and that's going to be response.data.categories. And we also want to dispatch, let me paste this here, and the type here is going to be called show success message. And then the payload here is going to be response data success message. Okay, now in case you were wondering, where is this response data categories and the success message coming from? These two properties are coming from our controller, which is sending the response back from the server. Let me show you. So if I open my controllers, collapses client here. All right, so when we have our controller create, which we created in the past. Oh, actually, see over here we're sending a JSON with success message. Oh no, that's creating. That's not the one I want. It's actually this one right here. Read all. This is the one. And this one is sending back the categories. Oh, only the categories. We actually don't need the message, so I take that back. So all we need is the categories property, because we're just fetching. It's not the creation of a category. So for the show success message, go ahead and remove that. All we need is the response data categories as a payload. And then if we get an error, I'm going to do a console log. Let's see. I'm going to call it get categories API error. And I'm going to pass the error. And I'm going to dispatch. Oh, I'm also going to, right here, dispatch stop loading. Because if we get an error, we need to stop the loading as well. And we're going to need type show error message, and the payload is going to be error response data and then error message. I do believe we did send an error property from that. So read all, yeah, we do. If we did get an error for the read all, we get this property. We're sending back a property called error message, which please try again. All right. Okay, so that should be it for our get categories action function. Let me go here into my notes, and we have completed our action function. Now add a reducer to the store. Okay. So let's go ahead and open our store.js. Import category reducer from reducers and category reducers. I'm going to call this property categories, and it's going to be the value of category reducer. Okay. Next step, dispatch get categories in app.js. Okay, so now we want to open our top level component of the application, which is the app.js, right? That is our top level component. So here in components, app.js, and the app.js component is where we have essentially our routing, all of our routing for React. Here, what we're gonna have to do is, because I'm gonna use effect and dispatch our action. So that means that we're gonna have to change this to curly braces. Let me change this here, change this to curly braces. And I'm gonna have to return this, do a return here. Let me, just like this. And Pretty's gonna format that. Now we can add some JavaScript. But before we do that, we're gonna have to import some stuff here. I'm gonna add a note here for you that we're using some Redux here. We're gonna need to import, actually before anything, over here, I'm gonna have to import use effect from React. And then for the Redux, we're gonna need to import that get categories. Let's see, we're gonna have to import use dispatch, and that's gonna be from React Redux. So here use dispatch, and then import our action function, and that is from, let's see, we are currently in the components folder. Go back one directory, go into Redux, go into actions folder, and then category actions, and we want to get the get categories function here. Now over here, what I want to do is I want to call the use dispatch. Oops. I'm going to assign that to a variable called dispatch. and initialize it like so. And then I'm going to call my use effect, which takes in 2 arguments. The first argument is going to be a function. The function that we want to execute once the component mounts, and that that's going to be, I want to execute a dispatch of get categories with parentheses to execute it. All right, and then if I save this, oh yeah, B. Oh, and then for the second argument is going to be our, if we wanted to the use effect to execute only one time when the component mounts, we just have a empty square braces like so, and we should get an show success message is used but never. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna get an error. React hook use effect has a missing dependency of dispatch, and says either include it or remove the dependency array. All right. So it's referring to this second argument here in use effect. So it's actually telling us right here in front of us to add what to do. So I'm going to add the dispatch here, and that's this takes in any dependencies or side effects that are needed to run use effect. So this essentially says, okay, well, we're going to call use effect once the component mounts, but also if there's any changes to dispatch, if it's called again, anytime it changes, its value is changes side effects. So that is the purpose of this here. Okay, so now that I have that, by the way, here I haven't saved. Let's see. Okay, give me a sec. I'm gonna save this file here. What's this warning here? Show success message defined but never used. That's from the categories action. So show success. Okay. Okay, it's right here. I'm not gonna be making use of this, at least for now. Show success. So I can remove that. Okay, good. So where are we at? All right, so dispatch get categories in. Okay. So the next step is remove get categories from, but let me see something before I move to that last step. Okay, so right here in the state, okay, in the state initially, we have categories. It's set to an empty array. Okay, it's set to an empty array. Remove get categories, dispatch. Let me see. Dispatch categories. Get categories. Okay, and let's see. The constants. Where's our category reducer? Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and do a hard reload here. All right, there we go. All right, so now that we've done the use effect and dispatch to get categories at the top level of our application. If we look at our Redux here, our Redux tools here, we see that we get everything that's everything back from our database. We have a total of 4 items or 5 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, actually this is right here. All right, so that's great, because now the moment that our application loads, that from the very beginning, we're already fetching all the categories from our database. So that's great. That's exactly what I wanted. And the final note that I had here was to remove get categories from our APIs folder. So remember again here, I've created I've created a few API functions here, which was in the past. So essentially what I can do is I'm making use of our action function get categories, so I can really delete this, but I decided to just leave this here just so you guys, if you guys wanted to go through the GitHub and look through the code, you see an alternative, or I just wanted to leave that available to you guys. Okay, but just know that right now at this point I can delete this, and the application is going to not make use of this particular function, but rather the function we have in our action category actions file. Okay, so that is it for now. I will be seeing you in the next video.